Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I'm Jody Grunwald. Have you heard about the Anthem Awards and how they internationally celebrate purpose and mission-driven work? This week, my guest is Patricia McLouglin, General Manager for the Anthem Awards. The lineup of celebrity judges and community leaders overseeing the over 2,000 nominations across numerous categories each year is truly remarkable. Even more impressive is the impactful work carried out by the individuals and organizations behind those nominations. They are dedicated to fostering strong, more inclusive communities for all. To learn more about the Anthem Awards, go to anthemawards.com. Please take a moment and subscribe to the Today's the Day Changemakers YouTube channel or stream on all streaming sites. And if you can, please leave a review. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Today is the Day, Live It. Have a great week, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald, and as I say every single time I have a podcast, I talk to the inspirers, the changemakers, and those who are disrupting the status quo in the best positive way possible. And today I have Patricia McLouglin with me. Hello, Patricia. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, I am so thrilled to have you here. And I'm going to explain to everybody how I found you. But before we do that, I'm going to read a little bit about you through your bio that I have in front of me, and then we'll go from there. Sound good?
Awesome.
Right. Patricia is the general manager of the Anthem Awards team, brings a wealth of experience and passion for social impact to her role. As the general manager, Patricia is dedicated to the Anthem Awards mission of amplifying the voices that spark global change to inspire others to take action in their own communities. Prior to joining the Anthem Awards, Patricia worked with the consulting firm Or Group, collaborating closely with nonprofits to enhance their work and impact. Her diverse experience, including development assessments, in-house support, event production, and campaign studies for over 20 nonprofit organizations, has equipped her with valuable insights and skills. She discovered her calling in the impact space during her time at Penn State University, where she received a degree in community environment and development. She resides in New York City, but enjoys spending her free time in the Catskills and Long Beach Island, which I am only 15 minutes away from. So I love it over on Long Beach Island. And the fourth annual awards will be kicking off this spring, I'm assuming, right? Is it this spring? All right. And you can learn more about the Anthem Awards after we talk all about it and we explain it to you at anthemawards.com. And you can also find it on social media, find the Anthem Awards on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Anthem Awards. So pretty easy. Patricia, I'm so excited to learn more. Before I even say that I just know that I saw something on LinkedIn related to the Anthem Awards. And I was like, what is this all about? And it talked about global change and it talked about changemakers. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to learn more about this organization and find someone. And I found you, and I thank you so much for answering my very blind message and connecting with me.
Yeah, of course. I think when we first connected was probably just around our finalist announcement and our Anthem Community Voice competition, which obviously we can dive more into as we talk more about the Anthem Awards. But overall, we're created to just uplift and celebrate the best and most innovative work happening in the social impact space, whether it's a for-profit organization, a nonprofit organization, an agency, or anything in between, also individual efforts and students, and really any type of work in this space has a home within the Anthem Awards. So our work goes across our 7 cause areas, which are diversity, equity, inclusion, education, arts and culture, health, human and civil rights, humanitarian action and services, responsible technology, and then also sustainability, climate, and the environment. So really wide encompassing. And then beyond that, under each of those cause areas, we have almost 65 categories for people to go into to submit their work. So whether it's an event that you're holding once annually that you'd like to submit, or a kind of social media campaign, any type of fundraising work that you're doing, there's really a place for it all within the Anthem Awards.
It's amazing. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. I want to learn more about you. And so where did you grow up?
I'm from Long Island, so have been generally in the Northeast for most of my life. As you mentioned, I went to Penn State for college and then settled back into the city.
That's great. And so what kind of connected you to this type of a mission? Was it something that really it started in Penn State and then it grew from there? It was something you always wanted to do, was to highlight those who are making a difference in the world?
So I think going into college, I was like, had really no clue what I was going to be doing. And somehow I found myself in the smallest major at a university of 40,000 people called Community Environment and Development. And it was really there that I kind of found kind of my home, I would say, kind of in the space a little bit more, because the way our professors kind of approached everything was to really force us to think and teach us how to be solutions driven, rather than just trying to solve a specific problem and here's the formula XYZ. They really wanted us to build the formula to those changes and those solutions. So really kind of taking a zoomed out view at the issues that our world is facing and having these large scale discussions on what we think we can do to make the world better and who is doing good work, who could be doing better work. And really, I think through all of that, I really found that though we've made so much progress in the past X years, there's still so much more that needs to happen to ensure that we're in an equitable space and to ensure that everyone is meeting their rights globally and so many different things. So that was really kind of where I knew I wanted to be in this area. And then initially, I was in kind of more of a fundraising role in the consulting world. And that came a bit more from my engagement in college with Penn State Dance Marathon, which is an organization that raises millions of dollars each year for children fighting childhood cancer at Penn State Hershey Children's Hospital. So with that, I was in a leadership role, kind of helping Greek organizations through their fundraising during the year. And that's kind of where I first kind of was able to mend these two things to be like, this can be a job. I love doing it. And it also kind of combines this work that I've been doing within my major on how can we make solutions and how can we do that? Because obviously you can have the best idea in the world, but without the funding behind it, and the fundraising capacity, then nothing can really happen. So that was really how I got my start in the space. And it's been an exciting ride since then.
So then how did you wind up landing at the Anthem Awards?
As most career stories these days, it all started through LinkedIn, just like how we started.
Yes.
But I had kind of heard mumblings around these different social impact awards because I feel like a lot of this has really kind of just started in this space. And the Anthem Awards itself we're only about to enter our fourth season. So when I came into the role, we were midway through our third year. So still extremely new, but I connected with the team and just was so excited by what they were doing to just amplify the work that's happening globally, and really kind of give everyone a place. And rather than so many other awards that feel kind of contentious and a little competitive and all of those types of things, really focusing everything around how can we celebrate and uplift the people, provide resources for them to be able to do their work even better, and just kind of really become a thought partner in the space for all of our partners. So even throughout the year, I'll sit down and have conversations with people as they're getting ready to launch a new program and just talk through what we've seen because each year we get around just over 2,000 entries per year. So we have a great mile high view of all the different work happening in the impact space. So can really be a great partner to a lot of our entrants and winners and judges as well as they're kind of charting their path forward.
So, one of the things that's so important is for people to know that these awards even exist so that they can submit. But it sounds like you get a lot of submissions already. I'm new to finding out about you, and there are probably a lot of people listening to this will say the same. Is this just nationally or just in tri-state area? Can you be from anywhere to apply for an award?
Yeah, so you can come from anywhere across the globe. So this year, I believe we had entries from 43 countries and winners from 33 of them. So we are completely global. We do our best to kind of help international entrants with whether figuring out a translation that would make sense since most of our judges are English speaking. That's the one kind of caveat that we'll work with people on, but we are willing to accept work from anywhere and from anyone.
What I did take a look at was some of your judges' names, and some of them a lot of people know. So tell us a little bit about the process of finding those judges and their connection to you. Because, and if you want, it's okay. You can name drop a few if you're allowed to, but they're really incredible people.
Yeah, so kind of zooming out a little bit, the Anthem Awards was founded initially from the Webby Awards, which is now in its 28th season, I believe. So Um, Both organizations, as well as the Levy Awards, which is kind of a European-based internet awards, are all under the umbrella of IADIS, which is the International Academy of Digital Arts and Sciences. So that body has the people that judge levies, webbies, and Anthem Awards. Obviously, everyone is kind of siloed to one award or another based on their specialty. But when the Anthem Awards were first founded, it was because the Webby Awards was seeing such an incredible increase in the amount of social impact work that was being submitted each year. So when we first began, we were lucky that we were not starting from zero. We had this incredible group of people already from the Webby Awards and the Lovey Awards that we were able to talk to and find out from there who was also kind of involved in this space and would be interested in judging the Anthem Awards in addition to the Webbies or the Levies. And then also we have this incredible network from those folks and beyond, and they were able to make some incredible introductions for us as well. So we have really incredible leaders from top organizations like we have from the Ford Foundation, we have folks from Nike, we have folks from a ton of different organizations, for-profit and nonprofit. And something that's really important to us is that our judging body also represents the entries that we're getting in. So that's something that we really kind of dig into and look at year over year as we're recruiting new people for our judging organization, is to really make sure that we have the people that kind of mirror back the work that's coming into us to make sure that it's being judged appropriately and by people that really are best in class in those spaces.
And I think you have a couple of stars too, if I'm not mistaken, that are part of that judging panel as well, right?
Yeah, we have a few really nice high profile names in there. And I think some of that has also kind of stemmed from our special achievement honorees each year that are absolutely incredible. And we're so happy to have them engaged in our organization as well. So it's been a lot of fun to kind of meet these individuals and kind of connect with them throughout the year. And we're so grateful that they're willing to lend their expertise and their time to help us do what we do.
Well, I think it shows the type of people that they are, right? Because these are the things that are important. But I want to go back because you said Webby Awards and Lovey Awards, and I don't think people know what those two names are. I know I didn't until I looked it up and we first spoke. So if you could just kind of give them definitions, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start with the Webby Awards because that is kind of our longest running award between the three. So the Webbies, as I mentioned, are now in their 28th season. In the words of the New York Times, it is the internet's highest honor. So they really look at work that is in kind of the internet space. So whether it's AI tools, metaverse tools, web design, podcasts, video creations, everything in between. And they'll kind of have their Webby Awards show every May. Five nominees will be invited each year, and they'll all be able to provide basically a 5-word speech if they win. So it's really fun and people get super creative with it. And I highly recommend going and checking out their recap video from last year with Hoda Kotb and a ton of really great people that were involved. And then on the other side, the Lovey Awards is kind of more similar to the Webbies in the work that it honors, but is completely focused on the European market. And they accept work in, I think, 8 different languages and really have a really unique and awesome community over there. So, and we're lucky too, because with the Anthem Awards, the social impact work that is being submitted to the Levies and the Webbies, we're also able to approach those folks and say, hey, we're the Anthem Awards, we're the new kids on the block, and we'd love to have you involved in our community as well. So it's really great to have those two organizations kind of as our sisters. I say sisters because all 3 are women-led.
That's
so,
fabulous. That's great.
But it's a really wonderful community and run by incredible people. And the work that each of them receive each year is out of this world. So it's all inspiring.
So walk us through the process. If a company is listening or a human is listening to this right now that wants to nominate themselves or their organization, when, how, what has to happen in order to make that happen?
Yeah. So the Anthem Awards is going to open for its 4th season, I believe, in around a month or so. It'll probably be around mid-April when we open up the doors for this year. And at that point, people will be invited in and anyone can enter through our website. And you'll basically go through, it's a relatively quick process depending on the work that you're submitting. You can either submit a link or a document, if you have like a case study or if it's an annual report that you'd like to submit, you could upload those directly. We also don't make people include a link or an uploaded document if they don't want to. We also provide some kind of question and answer boxes if they would just like to provide that context in that way. And that really kind of allows smaller organizations that might not have the super flashy materials that they want to submit, but have incredible work that's having an impact that they still want to have involved in the competition. They can still be involved in that way. And all in, I would say, once you kind of have your materials in order, the process is less than 5 minutes. So we try to keep it as quick and as easy as possible for folks. And also for anyone that's thinking about applying, I highly recommend reaching out to either myself or my colleague, Clara Cleary. And we'll kind of sit with you and schedule a call to talk through your work, decide what's the best category for you. As I mentioned earlier, there are 65 of them, so it can be a bit kind of daunting to look at that list and figure out where does my work fit best. But we look at everything every day. So we're the professionals that can really help point you in the right direction for where we think your work will do best. So it's a pretty simple process. Everything will be open up until, I would say, probably mid-fall. And at that point, we will shut down our entries. Our judges will already be hard at work reviewing all of the materials submitted. And then we'll basically go into our finalist announcement and our Anthem Community Voice competition. And so I lightly mentioned this earlier, but last year we launched our inaugural Community Voice celebration. And this was basically a way for all of our finalists to just promote their work and put it out into the world and really celebrate with their communities and say, hey, I'm a finalist. Isn't this great? Support our work on this website. So everyone, rather than clicking vote or anything like that, went into our platform and was able to see every work in the category and click to celebrate specifically, and you have the little confetti cannon and all of that. And so with that, we had, I want to say, around 67 winners based off from all of our different categories. And this was broken out by nonprofit and for-profit organizations as well. And we were able to just kind of have a really nice moment to recognize these organizations and celebrate their work and really kind of shout them out in a different way than we would with our winners announcement. So that was really unique. And I think something that will continue next year as well. And then a few weeks after that, once we kind of finalize all the tallies, dot the I's and cross the T's and everything in between, then we reach our winners announcement, which is probably one of my favorite days of the year. We have all of our winners record one sentence call to action speeches, which can be anything from what their mission is or a goal for their organization or what they wish to see in the world or anything in between. And everything will be basically uploaded into our winners gallery. So the morning of the announcement that will launch into the world, we'll have the press coverage and everything like that. And everyone has their own kind of webpage with their acceptance speech, what their awards were, a little bit about their work, and just kind of have that solidified within the Anthem Awards for all the years that we're around. So it's really such a fun day. And that's also when we're able to announce our special achievement winners as well, which is always super exciting for myself.
Oh, that is just so wonderful. And it sounds like so much fun to be a part of. Right. How fun is it to be able to tell somebody that you're receiving recognition for something incredible that you've done? Right. Is there anything or, one or two stories, awards that stood out to you since you've been there? You've been there, is it over a year yet?
We're going to be coming up on a year. So
Okay. Yeah. So I know it's very, very new. So I would assume there's got to be something that must have hit you along the way.
yeah, there are a couple that I personally really love this year. One organization, The Skim, I know tons of people subscribe to their daily newsletter. I know I've been a subscriber for years, but this year they produced a State of Women report, which I think was really interesting and talked to over 5,000 women from across the country to see how are we doing? How are we as a community bouncing back from the pandemic? How are people handling the stress of work from home and childcare and handling all of these different things? And really kind of did not hold back in their findings and really were straightforward with what the current state is to be a working woman in America, or even a stay-at-home mom, and what people are dealing with. And the pay gap that is still existing to this day, which is crazy to think about. And so I think that was a beautifully done report that they actually released during Women's History Month last year. And I hope they'll be coming out with a 2024 version this year as well. But it was just a fantastic work of, I would say, art, because it was beautifully done. The data used was incredible and really impactful, and it was incredible. Another one that was really interesting to me this year was a project called Silent Skies. And it was a group of college students from Lafayette College in Pennsylvania that wanted to do the first ever electric plane flyover for a football game. So together, they found a plane owner, they found a fleet of F-150 trucks to help charge the plane on their journey from where the plane was to their college stadium. They handled all of the logistics within their school to actually have this be a thing, and ended up being able to do this. And it was something where they were so excited about this new technology, and to be able to share that with their community and with the world, and point to how cool it is that we now do have these electric planes and the difference that they can be making in our world in the future, was just inspiring to see their passion, and also incredibly cool to just see this actually happen and come to life for them as well. So that was one that's definitely stood out to me. And I think another one is, and I think coming out of the pandemic, everyone realized that there was a lot of people whose mental health might not been in the best place, and how we all need to kind of step up to be there for each other in new and different ways. And so the Born This Way Foundation partnered with jack.org to create a Be There certificate, which is basically an online training for teens, tweens, and young adults to be doing to really understand what are the signs that someone in your life might not be in the best place, and what are the resources that you can be doing to help them. So I think, especially in this age of social media where everyone loves to paint on a bright and shining face, it's extremely important for people to be aware of when people are not okay, and know how they can support them in the best way. So I think that was another project that is just having such a unique impact, and something that's really meeting the moment for what we need at this time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are wonderful examples, and they kind of cover the gamut, which is so nice. What is next for, is there something that you're trying to grow to? Is there, is there a 5-year plan, or some next piece of the Anthem Awards that's coming down the pike, or any news to share?
So I think as we look towards next year, we would really just love to continue growing our community. Obviously, right now we're getting around 2,000 entries a year, which is absolutely incredible. But when you think of the global space and all of the work that's happening, and all of the incredible nonprofit organizations, universities, for-profit mission-driven companies, we've only kind of scratched the surface, I think, of where we can really go, and the work that we can be celebrating and uplifting and showing to the world. So it's really just kind of finding those pockets of people and finding new ways to build that out. I think for us specifically, as we've kind of come from the pandemic and grown with the work that we're doing, we've been going from a virtual environment, and then this past year kind of really kind of beta tested some in-person events in the New York area, which is where we're located. And now this year, really kind of looking to how can we find these pockets of our community in other places in the country, and really start help get letting people come together. Something that we do each year is, along with our winners announcement, we hold a little winners cocktail celebration to really let people come together and network and just be together in the work that they're doing. And it's an incredible environment to be in, because everyone is so smart and talented, and is committed to just making the best work possible and doing the most that they can to support others. And so to have this group together and to have them be able to toast each other, it's really incredible. So taking that type of environment and that really kind of special community, and allowing others outside of the events that we've held in New York to be able to experience that and come together. I think what makes the Anthem Awards so unique is this cross-sector and cross-cause area collaboration that we're able to have, and the connections that our community is able to make through the work that they're doing. So really trying to find new and innovative ways to allow people to connect and come together in those ways is something that I'm really focused on as we're going into the next year.
So do you have people fly in, right? You have this in the city, you said. So are people flying in from all over just for this cocktail reception? I know I would want to be a part of it if I could.
Yeah, we had a gentleman fly in from the the Ukraine. We had some folks from India this year, California, Seattle. So they really came from all over, and we were so grateful for that.
That's amazing. And that's exactly the whole plan. And Changemakers, this podcast, I think I mentioned to you, we have a forum that we run to bring everybody together. It's an educational day. Um, it's been such an unbelievable blessing to see those people come together because the connections that they make in those moments last. I'm still getting, actually, just 2 weeks ago, I just received an email that said of another connection that one of my change makers is having another change maker come to their location to speak. And they're not even close to each other. They both happen to be in the state of New Jersey, but they would have had no reason to necessarily be in the same circles. So one's in the IT world, the other's a coach and a change maker himself. And she invited him to come speak to a group of people. And it's incredible because I'm sure that's happening
Yeah, that's
now where they're
awesome.
connecting for you
Mhm.
too. When they meet at these receptions, then they become friends too.
Yeah, and you love to see everyone kind of, you'll see folks that never would have crossed paths in other ways, liking each other's LinkedIn posts and things like that as well. So it's cool to see the community and the relationships build in those ways.
Well, I want you to know that I invite you and any of those part of the Anthem Awards to reach out and say, can you interview? Because that's this whole premise of this podcast is to
Mhm.
interview the people that and share their story of the people that you're highlighting. They're the same people, they're pretty much the same people. And I, like you, I know there's lots of people around the world that we can't get to. And the only way to do that is to keep it's word of mouth. As much as we love, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and they
Yeah.
all work. Multiple stories on how they work. But it also is nice when you can say, oh, you should speak to, you should send in an application for this award because you're definitely deserving of an Anthem Award, put it through so that you can see if you receive it. And the same, to have them come on and share their story here so that more people can hear about whether they're selling something, a nonprofit doing something incredible in the community. What about for you, Patricia? What is kind of your long-term dream and your career path as you grow? Because I know you're almost a year in, as you said, at the Anthem Awards, and our lives are always evolving. Do you have a dream for yourself in the future, whether it's 10 years, 20 years down the road?
I feel like I know I want to continue to grow in this space, but when you think about it, everything has changed so drastically, even in the past 2 years, the past 5 years. You think 10 years ago and the impact that social media has had since then and how we approach everything. I feel like I almost don't know if what I'll be doing in 20 years exists at this point in time. And I think that's kind of, oh, I don't want to almost limit myself by pointing to what I want to do at that time. I know I want to continue to do the most that I can in the impact sector and continue to follow and celebrate this work and uplift the organizations that are doing this work in any way that I can. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, it's a great mission all unto itself, but you're 100% right. I would never in a million years have thought I'd have a podcast. I was the shyest kid in school and I didn't want anybody to look at me. Please do not call on me. But now, we evolve and your organization will evolve. You're 4 years young. So that's what'll happen down the road too. And I mean, you're on this trajectory and then all of a sudden you can wind up over here or launching a whole new brand too. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Um, what else do you feel it would be important for the public all around the world to know about Anthem?
I think it's so easy to kind of focus in on these extremely large organizations and the flashy judges and things like that around the Anthem Awards. But I think what's super important to know is that it is for anyone in this space. We have individual podcasters that have won that you don't have any sponsors, don't have any backing, but are just really spreading a really important mission. We have organizations that are kind of based off around 3 people doing work. For example, the Green Bronx Machine is one organization that really has 3 staff members, and they do online educational content for New York City public schools. And even beyond that, they've been building their online platform. And I think they're doing work in Chicago now and everything like that. But a team of 3. So I really just want to highlight that this is for everyone and everyone's work is important. And there's a place for anyone and everything within the Anthem Awards. So if you have any questions, obviously feel free to reach out and I am happy to address anything. But I think that's really the most important thing is, though you might see vote.org and Taylor Swift and this, that, the other thing. I think the number of organizations that we recognize each year that are budgets under $100,000 and things like that is really immense. So don't let anything like that hold you back from getting involved in the Anthem Awards.
I'm so glad you shared that. And because, I also, on my other hat, I am the CEO of a not-for-profit organization, and our budget is right around what you said. And for funding certain reasons, it is difficult, right? Because they
Mhm.
want to see that your organization is this big, and you can't start there. You have to grow to there. And so there's a lot of this. Are they big enough? Can they handle it? There's two of us. So as you were saying about three people, I totally understand what you're saying. And I think what happens sometimes is those who are so passionate and so tied to their mission, and they're trying to grow something from nothing, they never are looking for the accolades. And what they're looking for most times are the funding and support, and it's the hardest thing to find. But I hate to say it, but it's true. If you can share your story and showcase and you can receive accolades without it being ego driven, it's sharing your
Mhm.
passion. It can help you to garner more funding. So on the other side of, I hope that those who are smaller that do receive the Anthem Awards are able to utilize that and leverage that as a launch pad to continue to help grow their organization. All right. I mean, I would assume part of your organization thinks of it that way in some way too, that by getting this recognition, you could be putting them in the forefront to get more clients, business funding.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even beyond that too, it's also a really great way to steward donors and existing partners for your organization as well, to let people know that their support and their funding has allowed you to do this and has basically held their hand to get to that point to win this award as well. So I think that's also kind of an interesting caveat on it too, is it's a great way to also show impact and thank your donors.
Being in the space that I'm in, a lot of times where we have speakers for different things come out, and everybody always wants the Taylor Swifts to come out. That's what they do. They do. But actually, and not saying she's worked so hard, she's got a great following. It's not about her. What I'm saying is though, but then there's the others who are up and coming that are working so hard. And I'm not even saying in that genre. I'm talking about nonprofit work and the nonprofits that are smaller, as you said. They have so much to offer as they are growing because they have a lot of, scuffs and bruises and scrapes from all the grinding that they're doing to get to grow. And so I just think it's really important that their voices are heard and that their stories are heard. And I commend the Anthem Awards and you for doing that and giving them that space, because you didn't have to come up with 65 different ways to honor people in different categories. But you did, and that gave more people an opportunity to be noticed.
Yeah, and I think something too is we with our community voice competition as well, I think something that some feedback that we got was, well, I'm a smaller organization. How am I supposed to win or like what's in it for me almost? And I think something that's really important about it too is the way we kind of do it is organizations don't even necessarily have individual pages that they can link out to. They link out to their category page. And for every person that's going in to vote or to celebrate a project that's within that category, they're also seeing all of the work of those smaller organizations as well. So I think kind of creating opportunities for these organizations to also gain that exposure and to have that light shined on them as well, I think is super important. Just to kind of include everyone and give everyone that same kind of level platform for exposure and to be viewed and all of that. So
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else you would like to share, Patricia, before we kind of get to my last question?
I think generally just the Anthem Awards is here to kind of celebrate and help organizations build themselves up. So I think with our events that we have throughout the year, keep an eye out for those. If you follow us on LinkedIn, we'll always be sharing out about what cities we're going to and how you can get involved in other ways. We have a trend report that releases each summer, which I think is super helpful for organizations just to hear from our judges and see the trends that we're picking up on within the industry as well. So keep an eye out for all of that because it'll be super exciting in our fourth season as we're kind of cranking through some of these different events and publications that we'll be putting out.
So, I ask a question at the end of every podcast to my guest. And one of the things I always say is when you think about it, what is kind of like that legacy that you want to leave when, on this earth? Because, right, those who are doing good make a difference. All of us should be doing good, and many of us are. What does that for you look like in the legacy that you want to leave?
For me, I want to be thought of as a partner for others. Obviously, at this point in time, I'm not working in-house at a nonprofit, really kind of on the front lines of this work, but now and even in my past role as a consultant, just kind of being there to be that line of support and to build up these organizations and do what I can. So I think partnership and collaboration are just so key. And those are the two things that are of when they think of my role and as the Anthem Awards as a whole.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you to LinkedIn because without it, many of us wouldn't meet. So it is great. I'd say like it has a 90 something percent rate. I'm just making that up, but it's true. People I reach out to are so kind to say, yes, I'll talk to you. And I appreciate that very much. And I think if we all do that for each other, the more we can grow in our roles and
Mhm.
our and personal growth as well. So thanks for that. Thanks for taking my, accepting my message and my connection.
No, and thank you for giving us this platform to kind of share the Anthem Awards with even more people.
Absolutely. And please send me the information. If something launches and I can share it on my platforms, I would love to. I'm all about helping people get spotlighted for the incredible work that they are doing. I think it's so important. And thank you for the incredible work that you're doing by doing that. So it's amazing. And with that, I'm just going to say again, it's anthemawards.com, right, Patricia?
Yes,
And then at Anthem Awards for all the online social media platforms. So it's pretty simple.
that it is.
Awesome.
Excited to see everyone out there.
Yes, and around April-ish, we're saying that it's going to
Yes,
open for the next
mid-April,
round.
you'll see Anthem 4 popping up.
Well, we can't wait. Thank you so much. I've already got a lot of people that I'm going to be sending this out to that I have spoken to. So I'm super excited to be able to do that. And I'm going to say what I say at the end of every single podcast. Today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So, what small or large step are you taking today to get yourself closer to your goal? Thank you so much to Patricia McLouglin for coming on and sharing about the Anthem Awards. So excited. Can't wait for April. And have a great week, everyone. Bye, Patricia.
Bye.